Oh my goodness. It is January the 20th, 2024. 2024. Happy New Year, if I haven't already said that to you all. Happy New Year. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me. If you were here last week, you probably saw some people trying to fold some paper that didn't know how to fold paper, but they got their wheels done. I hope that you are working on your wellness wheel. Um, I hope you are working on your wellness wheel. And today we're going to be talking about some of those dimensions on the wellness wheel. That's what we'll be talking about today. And I'm hoping that this voice will hold out throughout the entire show. I got my ginger chai tea. Hopefully, we can get some things going on that need to be going on. But y'all, I got my friend. My friend is here to come and hang out with us today too. Um, yeah, I got a friend. Thank you, pretty girl. Yeah, I got a friend. I got a friend. His name is Man of Steel. He said I can call him friend, so I'm going to utilize that as being him friend. But he is the most requested uh, person to be to come back on the show. Everybody asks me, "Who is that man? Who is that guy?" Yes, they are wig. We are. They are. We're going to be talking about that today too, because that's part of one of the dimensions. That's part of one of the dimensions of wellness. It doesn't say friend dimension, but it is. Let me tell y'all what dimensions we're talking about today, because there are eight, but we're touching four in particular. Those four dimensions are spiritual, social, environmental, and emotional. I'm going to go ahead and bring my guest, my co host, my friend on into this place, Mr. Menastia. Okay, you blessed today. Okay, I see you. I see you. I see you. I got my cup too. It don't say blessed
Just
on
a
it.
little bit.
Oh, goodness. I don't even have you plugged in like I should. Let me get this thing right.
Man, be
I'm so
blind today too.
discombobulated today. Let me get y'all right.
Uh-uh.
Ooh, okay, we good now.
Yeah, yeah. Don't blame her if she hit the wrong thing. She can't see. She might have just woke up 10 minutes ago. What's
I,
up, John Wick?
look, I do better than that, but still, I can't sleep on Saturday mornings. So my alarm went off at 5:30.
What? Why? Because there's so many good cartoons. It ain't like that no more.
I don't even I don't even turn on the TV. I don't know how to sleep on Saturday. So what happens is I wake up really early, and I'm sure I'll take a nap after this show. That's just how it
Naps are
works.
good. Learn to appreciate
Hmm.
naps as you get older.
Yeah.
I'll
It-
take a nap before I take a sandwich.
you take a nap before you take a sandwich?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Hmm.
Naps before sandwiches.
Yeah, I get
That
that
should be a
sandwich
good
before I go.
T-shirt. That, that's a good T-shirt right there. Naps before sandwiches. But anyways, we're talking about dimensional wellness today. We're talking about dimensional wellness. um, and that the first one that I have on the list is spiritual. But we don't have to jump right into it. But that's where I say that the foundation is for everything. I'm gonna welcome everybody here. Hey y'all, hey y'all. Welcome to Divine Living, a personal growth and wellness show that talks about being well. And we talk about being well through the eight dimensions of wellness. If you were here last week, you may have seen them all. Hopefully, you got a brief overview of why I've started this show and what the foundation of the show is. It's all about those 8 dimensions of wellness. It's so hard to like dive like dive into all of them
Right.
in a hour or 45 minutes, to let everybody know what they all are. Because the thing that I say all the time, if we look at our life as a whole and try to complete everything all at once, it can be a little overwhelming. So it's good to kind of divide those things into dimensions. Sometimes we're doing some really good things. Sometimes we need a little support. Sometimes we need a lot of support. So knowing where you are in those dimensions and how much support you may need or what you're doing well, celebrate those things that are going well and actually do the work for those things that need to be to have a little more work. So welcome
Everything.
everybody. This is the featured show on the Tag app for the 11 o'clock a.m. slot. So you can catch me here every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Check out my Instagram, Miss Divine or Divine Living. Also, check out my YouTube where I post the replays of these shows. Same name, Divine Living. So yeah, catch me there. Catch me there. I'd love to see you there. Um, say hey, make a comment, say what you like, all that kind of good stuff. All right. Sorry, Amanda Steele. I was running my mouth, which I can do. But
No, that's all good.
yeah. So
Yeah.
like I was saying, spiritual wellness is like the foundation to me. I don't know how you feel about it, but spiritual wellness is like the foundation of many of the dimensions. So let's talk a little bit how spirituality contributes to the overall wellness or balance in our life. And I'm not talking about religious things, but I'm talking about our inner core being. It can be religious for other people or anybody, but I'm talking about that inner core being.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about spiritual usually that's usually the dimension that gives you purpose. So if you're talking about it being spiritual, for one, if you start at the beginning, you can't say you're spiritual without having a ritual. That's that's the root of the word. You have to have some type of ritual in order to be considered spiritual for the most part. If you're doing it actually by the letter, but the spiritual dimension gives you purpose and it actually balances you out a little bit. To me, it's spiritual and physical, but that's the most important. But yeah, spiritual, that's usually going to give you purpose. So that's going to let you know, based on how you should move forward. And a lot of times it'll give you that insight as far as dealing with people. That covers a lot of other dimensions too, as far as your environment around you and everything else. Spirit is very important. You know what I mean? That's where your intuition comes from. That's what all those things come from. So yeah, as far as spiritual, that usually going to give you your purpose. That's usually going to keep you grounded. You know what I mean? Because if you've been around anybody that don't have a good spirit, you can tell. You can tell. And typically, based on how their spirit sits with them, determines how much they do for other people. Because typically,
Hmm.
when you have a good spirit, you do more for others on a consistent basis than you actually look for people to do for you. So that spirit is very important because y'all have heard me say, I don't know, for the last few weeks, since the new year, I was like, if you're around people that's constantly asking for things, then they never have anything to give. If you got somebody that constantly need a ride, that constantly need money, that need advice, they need you to hear them, they need all of these things. They need. How much could they have to give? They won't have anything to give because they
Hmm.
constantly asking and needing things. So that spirit thing is very important. Very important. So I always looked at people that have a handout because typically they got both of them out. And me,
Definitely.
I kick their hand up and make everything fly in the air and run. So Don't,
What?
don't come asking me for too many things.
Oh. Oh man, we're talking about spiritual wellness right now. This is a featured show here on the Tag app for the 11 o'clock show hour. Most of the times we hang out for a little after talk. So if you would like to join into the conversation, hang on till the end of the hour. Write some things down. Maybe you'll gather the question or conversation that you may answer to in our conversation today. But also, I'm just happy that y'all here. I'm happy that y'all here hanging
Me
out
too.
with me. Thank you, thank you. Yeah. Well, I'm
Jamila,
going to talk about. Let's see, the dimensions that we're talking about are spiritual, social, environmental, and emotional. I'm going to see if my eyesight is in one of those dimensions today, but it may be in next one of the dimensions for next week. Yeah, I can see. I do have in contacts. I do
all
have
right,
in contacts,
all
but
right.
um I still can't see with them. Anyways, let's keep talking about this spiritual. Yeah, let's keep talking about this spiritual wellness thing. Okay, so you were talking about. I saw a comment in the comments that talked about it being like that selfless type of thing, that core of our being, that spiritual thing. It gives us purpose. It gives us insight. All of those things. Now, I see spiritual as connecting with many of the other dimensions. So the next dimension that I wanted to kind of hit on, and we can go back and forth with these however they need to, but definitely our social well-being, or the social dimension. Thank you so much for helping me obtain uh, this initial goal for today. Thank you so much. Your gifts are always appreciated. So we're talking about social. We're talking about social, and how can some of the how can or what are some of the practical ways to incorporate our social wellness into our daily living?
Yeah, see now, social starts to get a little tricky because now you're talking about choosing to actually be around other people. Now, see, the main issue with a lot of things is that people never look at how they serve other people. Nobody ever
Mm,
thinks that what they do is going to determine what other people do for them. The energy they give out, it's the energy that you get back. So most of the time, people worry about people around them and say that if your input is messed up, you might want to look at your output because like a lot of people, they don't even recognize things except what goes through their ears. They never worry about what comes out of their mouth. So, and when I choose to socialize with people or be friends with people or whatever the case, then I look at people that I actually want to be there for. Because if you can find people that's like that you want to see win, even if you're not getting anything from the win, those are people that you typically want to be around because you would choose to be around them no matter what. So you will want
mhm,
actually people that want the same for you. It's like if you have like a business circle or anything else. If everybody in that circle want the best for every other person and they in the circle for every other person, then everybody wins because everybody's fighting for each other. You're not fighting for what you can get in return. Every time it turns selfish, it becomes an issue every single time. I don't care what you're talking about. It can be parent, child, co-worker, business owner, employee, doesn't matter. Every time a person turns selfish, everything goes awry. So when you choose to socialize with people, it's probably best to socialize and be around people that you want to see win. Because if you want to see win and you care about their well-being, you would choose to be around them and don't feel as though you have to be around them for what you can gain from being around them. Because everybody in here know people that's them just in case people. It's a lot of just in case people, just in case. It looks like they might make it, so just in case, I'm gonna stick around. It
mm,
looks like that they might get this promotion, so just in case, I'm gonna stick around. It's always gonna. You got to be able to recognize those just in case people. I know a lot
Mm-hmm.
of just in case people. A lot of just in case people. So I'm like, you got to be careful. Them just in case people are out there running rampant because all of a sudden they'll get nice out of nowhere. You'll be like, where this come from? You know what I mean? But they see your trajectory and where you're about to go. They see a sign of something that's about to come through. And some people looking to get rewarded for having perfect attendance in your life. They just want to show up. They ain't do none of the homework. They're not paying attention in class. They just got perfect attendance. And that's where a lot of people actually, ruin things in their lives because they look and say, well, this person's been there. Okay, but what have they done while being there?
Mm-hmm.
Don't give them credit for just having perfect attendance. You can't just show up to class and be like, I'm gonna pass because I'm here. It's like, no, you got to
Yeah.
do the work. You didn't study. You didn't do nothing. You're just there. A rock is just there. You know what I mean? Like seriously, I don't buy my kitchen sink a Valentine's Day gift. It's there. Like you got to do something. So be careful of those people because I know a lot of just in case people. Boy, they will hover
Mm.
around it like buzzards. I'm trying to tell
I
you.
don't
So
I
be
don't know
careful.
about those just in case people. Like you said, there was a comment in the chat that said, I'm gonna put my good eye on them. But there was also a comment too. Don't talk about the good eyes today, but there was also a comment too that said, "What if you don't like those people? What do you like? What what happens when there are challenging people um, in many ways?" You're
I
kind of
mean,
touching on it. You're kind of touching on it, but we have to deal with people that um, just are challenging. Mm,
it
what are
depends.
some suggestions to deal with people like that?
See, now it depends. People, that's it's difference between challenging and people I don't like. If I don't like you, I ain't being bothered with you. Period. You know what I mean? If I don't like you, I don't be bothered with you. That's different than challenging. Challenging could be. It depends on the intention. If you're challenging me is to prove me wrong to actually compete with me, that's something different. If you're trying to help me improve, if you see some potential in me that maybe I don't see and you want to see me win, so you're trying to challenge me to be better, that's something different. So it's all about the intentions. So if somebody's trying to challenge me, it's like being a coach, like some people, uh, they call me to be their accountability partner because they know what they would need. And like, I need you to be, because it all depends on what word you use. You can use another word, other than even uh challenging. You can say encouragement, you can say tough love, you can say
Hmm.
accountability partner. Like it's so many things. The intentions is always what matters. Because the difference, it's just like the difference between uh influence, like I was telling you yesterday, influence and manipulation. The only difference is the
Hmm.
intention. That's it.
Right.
The intentions would
Right.
determine whether it's actually manipulation or influence. If you're only doing it for you to gain something, you're manipulating. If you're trying to help them gain something, even if it's just knowledge, that's actually trying to influence. Thank you. So it all depends on the perspective because you can have more than one aspect within one realm. You can
Hmm.
have, science and math and religion and spirituality. They can all fit in one room because one teach you about how to get to heaven and one teach you how the heavens go. So you
Mm.
can actually be a scientist and be a Christian if you wanted to. Because those are not two of the same things. You know what I'm saying? They offshoots of each other. So, hey, look, if you don't like somebody, get out of there. That's all I can tell you because some people are
Right.
going to be a drain and they're not going to be a fountain. It's just that
Hmm.
simple. They're never going to replenish you. They're never going to bring anything to put on your plate. They're there for a to go plate. They're not there to contribute. Telling you now, you have to move on. You don't owe nobody a second chance to get it right either. That's the other thing. You can say
Yeah.
you got to get it right the first time.
Hmm.
You can say that. That's up to you. Because see,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you have to move on because whatever you think could be the case, it's not worth it to find out whether you're wrong or not. The risk is too big. They can end up being the greatest person in the world. But the risk of them not being that and being who you think they are, that's too big of a risk. Because you know, as anybody else that's getting older, maybe in their 30s and their 40s, what you want is peace as you get older. Doesn't matter how you just want peace. You've been going through a bunch of drama, bad jobs, bad relationships or marriages, kids drive you crazy, paying for promotion, car accidents, bills, etc.
Mm-hmm.
By the time you're in your late 30s and 40s, you didn't did that for so long. You just like, man, I just don't want to be bothered. I don't want nobody to add no drama to my life. You know what I'm saying? No drama. Drama meaning unnecessary things. Somebody that's trying to push you or help you stay consistent and focused, that's different. But just unnecessary drama, you don't want that as you get older. You're like, man, please get out my face. That's why when you date or you meet somebody,
Right.
you'll watch them walk. You'll look at them walk and be like, you know what? Yeah, I can tell. I can tell what you got on or the way you walked over here. Yeah, this ain't gonna work. I'm gonna holler at you. I'm
Not
gonna
the
holler at
walk.
you. You can see it. You can be like,
Yeah.
nah, nah. And again, even if you're wrong, the risk ain't worth finding out.
Right.
So you just going about your business. Because I've seen it plenty of times. I'm like, yeah, you can feel the energy. I know you've been
Mm-hmm.
out and you be like, I feel like it's about to be shooting or something in here. It's about to be a fight. Like the energy
Mm-hmm.
changes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I believe in my energy. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I've read the room. Something ain't right. Somebody about to get their head hit with a bottle of champagne or something. Let me get out of here.
Yeah. Good morning, y'all. You have tapped into Divine Living. I'm Miss Divine. This is my friend. Somebody in the comments said, "You got friends." I got a friend today. Man of Steel is here, um, and he has been affectionately nicknamed the Tag Motivator. Um, and we're gonna rock with that today. Thank you, Man of Steel, for coming and hanging out with me today. Um,
Sure.
we have kind of brushed the surface of a couple of dimensions. We're talking about four of the eight dimensions today. Um, and we've brushed the surface a little about spiritual wellness and social wellness. I want to stay on social for just a bit because knowing what the social wellness dimension is good, but sometimes we need practical ways to like enhance our social wellness. And what I know, one of the things is definitely um, prioritizing our time,
Right.
not just with ourselves, but also prioritizing our time with our friends, our families, our loved ones. Um, and of course, there are so many other ways that we can like foster social wellness. But I really like that prioritizing. Um, and man, it's still one time you were here, and there were a lot of comments going on in the chat. And one of the other key points that I liked that I like about fostering social wellness is practicing active listening. So we can talk about a couple of those right now. There are many others, but I think that it's important. I think that those two are definitely important.
Yeah. Listening. Man, I tell you, man, this is one of the hardest things, especially for my friends to do. Especially for all of y'all, some of y'all in here right now. Some of my female friends that call me for advice. That listening thing, y'all, what? I be like, did you hear what I just said? Like, y'all drive me crazy sometimes. But,
Hmm.
but listening is. one of the hardest things to actually do, especially if you're coming from a space of pain. You know what I'm saying? Because you just want to get how you feel out. Listening is also one of the signs of high intelligence. So I always
Mm-hmm.
tell people, and listening should have some type of effect, even if it's an indirect effect of how emotional you are. Because the if you look and say, let me listen to the point to determine whether I should feel this way, then it should make a difference. If the feelings and the emotion is the one all be all, it's going to be very hard to listen
Mm-hmm.
because you're not listening with your ears, you're listening with your heart. So, man, that act of listening, you have to listen to people. This is how I do it. This is just me. When I'm speaking to anybody, you know, I don't care if it's advice, if we just having casual debate or conversation, or somebody's giving me tough love, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I listen attentively as if they may say something that I've never heard before. So I listen
Mm-hmm.
unfiltered and I listen to everything that they're saying. Because for one, I owe them that respect. If I'm not going to be listening to them, it's no need for me to engage in the conversation. And I have to understand that whatever I'm doing in that conversation to them, I have to accept it right back. So if they're trying to let me know something and trying to express something to me and I act like it don't matter, see, because sometimes we don't look at our body language as actually a form of listening.
Mm-hmm.
Your body language is also a form of listening. Body language is just not what you're saying, it's actually showing if you're listening. Because if a person is talking to you and saying how they feel about something, you're like this, your body language is saying that you're not listening. Body language is so important within language. Body language screams the loudest. Not your voice, it's your body language that screams the loudest.
Mm-hmm.
However, like I said, man, that listening is something else because if you have an emotional attachment to the conversation, it's hard for you to listen. Like even if you go on tag, I want everybody to take
Mm-hmm.
a look at this. Whenever you have conversations like this, I want you to start paying attention to when people comment. Every show that I go on, even on our shows, when we talk about certain parts of a conversation, you see people comment because it already agrees with their point of view. When
Mm-hmm.
you hear a challenging actual point of view, they don't ask questions. They don't comment during that time. They act like
Mm-hmm.
they're not there. They don't say anything. And then when another person says something they're already thinking, then they start commenting again. It's like now they back ready to roll. That's a person that's now open minded and willing to evolve and learn anything different than what they already believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell people when we have our little meetings on Monday, I'll be like, watch the comments. Cause you'll watch people be like, yeah, huh? Say that, eyes, all that, this, that, whatever. As soon as somebody give a different point of view, crickets.
Mm-hmm.
Then somebody will come back in and be like, yeah, because this, that, or whatever. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Like all that, man. So my whole point is if you're gonna listen, you have to listen. Some people will not listen. Listen to what a person is telling you. You never know what somebody's trying to teach you. You never know. So I know we're gonna get on the last dimension, but that listening thing is so important. People don't even understand. Some people have friends just because they're good listeners.
Yeah.
Because
What?
again, I'll put it like this: either you want to be heard or you want to be right. Y'all hear me say that all the time. Either you want to be heard or you want to be right. You decide those two when you're actually talking to someone or when you're choosing to listen, rather than actually just being quiet long enough for them to finish their statement and then you respond. That's not listening.
So the things that we're touching base on right now are ways to foster social wellness, um, being prioritizing our time, active listening, practicing active listening in conversations that we have with those people to demonstrate, how valuable they are. Minister, you were hanging out with me a few months ago on a show of gratitude. That is another way to foster social wellness. If you are looking to increase your social wellness dimension, take notice to these things, because especially showing kindness and gratitude to it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference. So
Yeah.
I know we talked about this, and y'all can catch the replay on my not my Instagram, but my YouTube. But come on and listen to this. Why is gratitude and kindness important in our social wellness?
Because, you know, gratitude or having lack of gratitude is the biggest blocker of blessings, regardless of who you pray to. Because if you can't appreciate what's going to get you to your destination, why would it be assumed that you're going to appreciate getting there? Like, that don't even make
Mm-hmm.
sense. If I give you a car that's not the best cost, but it's going to get you to the money to get the better car, and you don't appreciate that, why would
Mm-hmm.
I assume that you're going to appreciate the car you're looking for? See, people that's not grateful for things in their lives, not grateful for
Mm-hmm.
people in their lives, not grateful for people that actually want to be there for them, they have a
Mm-hmm.
very hard life because the energy they keep giving out is that nobody else matter except them. Gratitude is the biggest thing that you need to have in your life, period. Because if you'll appreciate $1,000 a month, you'll appreciate 100,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
That just would just make sense, right? I appreciate less money, so I'm going to appreciate more money.
Mm-hmm.
So gratitude is so big and it's so powerful because a lot of times, even if you're the leader of your house, leader of a company, the best kings are better servants. When
Mm.
you're a better servant, you become a better leader because you understand how it feels to serve. You know
Yes.
what it means to serve. And a lot of
Yes.
people never look at that part because everybody is so enamored with the title. Like you have some people that let's say, let's say football for people that kind of understand football. They'd be like, okay, well, you're the you're the best blocker on your team, but you want to be the quarterback because they do all the interviews. So now everything is all over the place because you just won't play your role. You won't be a star there. You rather just be seen as a star. That's just like how social media is now. Everybody want to look like they live a wonderful life instead of actually fighting to be able to live that life.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody just use a filter and use green screens and in Paris.
Mm.
Never left their county. You know what I mean? So now everything is about pretending today instead of putting in the work to actually get to where they're trying to. How can I put this? I'll put it like this. Most people Most people are upset with who they used to be, not happy with who they are now, so they never become who they're supposed to be. Those three things right there is a problem. You got to be able to be happy with every part of who you were. You're not
Say that
supposed to
part
be
again.
happy at 43. Huh?
Say it again.
I said most people can't stand who they used to be. They're not happy with who they are now, so they never become who they should be.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to be happy with all of that. You're not supposed to be the same at 42 that you was at 21. That's 21 years later. So if you can't accept what you've done, what you do, everybody got things that they be like, man, I can't believe I did that and said that. I can't believe I wore that. I can't believe I had that hairstyle. I can't believe I slept with that person. I can't believe I did this. Everybody do. You're not
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be your finished product at 21.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you can accept, you know what? That's who I was. That was me at 21. Yeah, that was me at 30. Yeah, now this is me now at whatever 55. And I'm probably going to be somebody else different when I become a grandparent. Like all of these
Mm-hmm.
things, it's supposed to be okay. You got to be happy with every phase of your life. Even if you're not happy, you got to accept it for the truth because it actually happened. Those were conscious decisions that you made. So you don't have to accept them, but you got to look and say, yeah, that did happen. That is the things that I did. See, you can't have people make you feel a certain way about you. That's the thing. You there for
Right.
100% of your life, nobody else. You was there for
Man, it's
all
still
of it.
um we can stay on social all day. We can stay on social all day long. And
Right.
we're going to have plenty of opportunity to get back to it. So I'm hoping that you guys are taking notes while we're doing this too. One quote that well, I'm paraphrasing now because I didn't take notes on the exact quote that it was, but it talked about clipping our wings. That it just brought to my awareness because of a comment that was in the chat, that sometimes we're so used to thinking or dwelling on what we used to be, like what our used to is going to make us become what our future has in store for us. But sometimes we got to clip those wings so others can grow. um, I want to run through a couple of more things for our
I don't know
social wellness. No.
because sometimes I'm gonna tell you a quick story. You ever heard
Okay.
this story about a butterfly?
Hmm.
It's a person walking past a cocoon. A butterfly is struggling to try to get out. They
Hmm.
run and go get scissors and come and cut the
Mm,
cocoon open. The butterfly hits the ground and dies. They think that they helping the butterfly, but that struggle that they have to go through is necessary to fully grow the other wing. It wasn't ready. So when you think that you're holding somebody's hand and you're feeding them from a bottle
mm,
and all of that, you're really hindering them. Sometimes you have to go through the process. You know what I'm saying? Nobody
yeah,
promises life was going to be easy. But
yeah.
I go ever for that. But I'm going to let you go. But
No,
that's what I
no,
wanted
because
to say.
that's right too. Because in our conversation a couple of days ago, we were talking about, well, one of the things that I said is you have to you have to go through the test. You have to go through the test to know if you're ready to pass or not. If you don't go through the things, then you don't pass the test. Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
you won't pass the test. You don't know the information to pass it, you know? Um, here's a couple of more tips just to talk about social wellness and some things that you can do to foster your social wellness dimension. Um, we talked about kindness, gratitude. Be involved in some social clubs or social events. Don't be a hermit. Don't be a hermit. You're not going to increase your social wellness dimension if you're always staying in the house and not doing anything. Yeah, apps like Tag can increase some of your social wellness, but you got to be in front of people in order to increase your social wellness dimension. Also, practice empathy and understanding. Um, and sometimes you got to put this phone away, remove yourself away from the technology in order to grow.
Absolutely.
In order to grow.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to tap in on that? We got two more dimensions to cover. We got 15 minutes to do that, about 15 minutes. We knew that this was going to be a long process because when you get two talkers on the screen, that tends to be the thing. Oh shoot, rhymes. Anyways, uh, let's dive into the other two real quick. Let's
All
go into the other two real quick. The next one is environmental, and we don't have to stay a long time on environmental because environmental can be all types of things too. Um,
right.
I feel like environmental comes in layers. You got your home, you got your community, you got um, just our environment as a whole. When we talk about the things that affect our our global well-being. But a lot of times we have to stop and just deal with those things that are in the surface, that environmental thing that is happening right here, right now. What are your dwellings looking like? How is your emotional or your environmental wellness at that particular time? Yeah. So if you got
Well, for
anything you
me,
want to touch on environmental, that'd be cool.
I'll make it quick. The way I choose my environment is based on whatever I'm trying to get done. So that's the capacity it's going to be in. A lot of times I like to try to operate in chaos. You know what I mean? Like most places in my house, I keep speaking Spanish. But when I have to actually focus on something, I focus better when there's a bunch of things going on around because it forced me to focus. It feel like it's a challenge. It feel like it's something that's trying to get my attention and it forced me to focus on what I'm trying to do. Sometimes when it's too quiet in my workspaces and it's too neat, I can't focus or think because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like there's nothing pulling me to try to get my attention to make me focus more on what my mission and my goal is. So you know how people say organized chaos and all of that. The military could have like ruined me in that way. Because if something got to get done, it doesn't matter what's going on around you. That mission got to get done. Mission first.
Mm-hmm.
So my environment, I try to choose that very carefully, but I can function in organized chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that preparation prevents poor performance. So I make sure I'm prepared for most things as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really mind chaos. I don't really mind, any of those things, but I try to keep my environment around me not necessarily peaceful, but I want it to be sort of challenging because I look at myself as a leader of other people. So I would actually rather be challenged by the people around me because I would charge myself with making sure my circle get to where they need to go. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily need a happy environment, but I do need a thriving one, if that
Mm.
makes sense.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. um, what I also feel like in our environmental wellness is the organization as a whole, you know. Um, Being organized in situations definitely help us maintain a sense of well-being. So that's probably the key component
Hmm.
of environmental wellness is the organization. If it's chaotic or not, it's the organization of it all. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like I said, for me, I don't necessarily. It's like I'll just do it this way. It's like if you compare on tag. Like I don't need an emoji for me to treat you like family. I treat you like
Mhm.
family. That's what makes us family, not the
Mhm.
same emoji. So I look at it the same way. Like I can manipulate my environment. You know what I'm saying, based on my actions and the examples that I set, not necessarily because the bid is made.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? Because it's something powerful when you're around the person that know how to lead. You will drop your defenses. That's only people that's looking to understand that they don't know how to lead yet. Some people just
Mhm.
don't lead. Their biggest attribute and their biggest value is following. Some people got to understand that everybody had different skill sets. And even if you're capable of doing certain things, it might not be necessary in this situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have to be able to do different things at different times around different people. So for me, I look at my highest value based on what I'm looking at. So even if I do something else on my own where I'm at the top, if I'm somewhere else, if this all that's needed, I do that. So even though I got two companies, if let's say my sister's opened a restaurant and she said, "Bro, can you help me out today? I just need somebody to clear the tables." I'm gonna clear the tables. I don't go into the office
Mhm.
and say, "Well, I'm a boss, so I'm gonna be a boss here too."
Yeah.
What is my value going to be here to contribute to the goal? That's why I always tell people: if you focus on the mission and the goal, you'll be fine. If you stop making all of it selfish, a lot of people make it selfish and don't look at the goal and the mission. How can you contribute your highest value to what you're trying to get accomplished? That's it. Stop worrying about whether you got a brand new suit on and got J's on or whatever it is. Why you do it? Just get the
That's right.
mission and the goal done. especially if you're a man, because that's part of being a man. Man means to me manifest answers now. That's what man means to me. Get we're looked at as getting things done, getting things accomplished. You can't have a man stand in front of you and slap your daughter and you be like, well, I mean, I'm just saying though, like we got to get things done and get things accomplished. We're here to purposely provide and protect. Too many excuses that we make, et cetera, et cetera. We need to start looking and saying, how can I increase my value? Get around other men, learn from other men, teach other men. That's why more mentors are men. We see ourselves in younger boys. The problem is some men grow older to be older boys and not men because it's the maturity level that makes you the man. Some people are just older boys. And I try
Right.
not to focus on what the women's supposed to do because I don't have that genitalia.
Mm-hmm.
I have men genitalia. So I focus on the men. So I don't choose to turn this way. But what about the women? What about the women? What about that's fine. If we
Right.
do what we supposed to do, all that adjust over there.
That's it. That's it.
So I
And
worry
still,
about what we need to do.
yeah. Let's touch on this last dimension because a lot of women, this one is a struggle for, and that is emotional, the emotional wellness dimension. And I know you say, hey, I don't have that, I don't do this or whatever. But a lot of times women just get caught up in emotional, emotional, emotional. And they say, oh, I'm so emotional right now. Now, I, one thing that I can say is that I, um, with my emotions not in control, I cried almost every single day. My family, real life family, is in the chat, so they can attest to me and these tears. I would cry every single day. But what women don't get initially, and things, something that I'm definitely working through, is that if you don't align that real feeling to the actual emotion that is to be expressed, then those tears mean nothing. I'm crying for no reason. No reason. Tears are important, but I don't have to cry every single day now. I cry when things touch me to cry, you know. But let's talk about that emotional well-being before, or wellness dimension, before we get up out of here today.
This one should have
Um,
got most of the time.
we should
However,
have.
yeah, but my people might be too emotional to actually have that happen. So, but I keep telling people, man, your emotions, they're not facts. They're not. The only fact in it is that you have the emotion. Your emotion cannot tell somebody else why they did something and why they said something. Just simply because you felt something. You can't determine the person's intentions. You can be wrong. You can't make decisions just based solely on how you feel. That is not a good barometer to actually make decisions.
Mm.
It's not. See, the issue is it's hard to explain it to a person that's extremely sensitive that what they're feeling is not real. And they always take it the wrong way. They always saying, you're trying to tell me I'm not feeling this way. No, that's not what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is the reason you're feeling that way could be wrong.
Hmm.
But see, if you're too sensitive, you don't want to listen to any other way because regardless of
And
what you say,
I like that you said that because when I was doing a little more research on it, not just now, but in times past, the first part of emotional wellness is acknowledging what the emotions are, identifying what that really, what that feeling is equated towards, you know? Um, and
it goes
I,
to
I mean, I
listening to
kind
it.
of think that that's what you were saying too. That's
It
kind of
goes
what I
back
was
to
getting from
listening.
it.
It
Hmm.
goes back to
Hmm.
listening. It goes back to if you're not so emotional, you can hear the person tell you exactly what they were trying to do, and then it's up to you to determine whether that's true or not. But if you only
I,
go by how you feel, then it's going to be very hard to keep people consistently in your life because they're going to
mhm.
look and say, "You're painting me as a certain person that I thought that I wasn't, and I was actually a decent and good person to you. But because your emotions, for whatever reason, see, people can't make me emotional about things that I don't know is that I don't think is true.
Mm.
See, if I
But
don't offer,
what I feel, man, is still too. What I feel. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
What I feel too is that a lot of times women get stuck on not being able to say no. They want to be that I want everything happy. I want to please this person. I can't, they don't know how to set those boundaries. They don't know how to set those boundaries.
But if you
And it
listen to the
becomes exactly
explanation,
what, yeah.
if you listen to if you hear the explanation for a lot of people that look at that way, all you hear is I, me, I, me, I, me, not us and we.
Mm-hmm.
See, because a lot of times you'll have it where a person want to love you the way they want to love you, not the way you say you need to be loved.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's selfish. It's all about them. Well, how can I make you happy? You say how you can make them happy. They come back and just say, "Well, this is what I want to do to make them happy." It's like you asked me, and now you're gonna do it your way anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times I have to tell people all the time to love someone and to be with someone or to even be friends with a person, et cetera, is to serve each other. But a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people can only think of themselves in every single situation. They can't never just step back. If you can give them brick by brick, example after example, everything, it's a pattern, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And all they do is get upset that you brought it up. They don't
Mm-hmm.
put their ego to the side and say, is this actually true? These things are actually happening. It's a saying in business that very sensitive people usually 3 to 5 years behind everybody because all of the things that people are trying to show them and teach them, they get emotional about and they get offended about. So until they fall and hit their head enough times for themselves, it usually takes 3 to 5 years
Mm-hmm.
for them to realize that,
Mm-hmm.
which is really sad because it's like some people trying to give you the shortcut to success or give you a shortcut to actually help you and give you access, but you're so sensitive. Anytime you hear that you're not 100% perfect, you shut down. And I tell people all the time, yo, if you don't feel that way, how could you be offended by it?
Mm-hmm.
See, if somebody came in here and say, um, yeah, I don't talk to, let's say, white women, you'll be like, what is this person talking about? And you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you're clearly a black woman. See, that's
Mm-hmm.
not possibly true. But if somebody comes in and say something that hits you in your wheelhouse, that's when you get upset because they ultimately just reading your email.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you also feel that way. You just
Yeah.
don't want to hear it and you don't like to see it yourself. But maybe it's time for the truth to have its day and stop trying to trick it because you can't fix a problem that you won't identify.
I want to run through some of the um emotional wellness things to foster emotional wellness, and a lot of the things are similar to those of the social wellness dimension too. One of the key components was cultivating gratitude.
Mhm.
I think that I think that gratitude is important in social and emotional. Like you, in order to have that check on your emotional well-being, be grateful for the things that you have. Be grateful for the people that are in your life. Be grateful. I was sitting here doing a brief meditation before we started, and there's meditation music that's going on inside my place, and outside I'm hearing the birds chirp. Um, and I got caught up in the moment of just being grateful for the sounds that I heard, and at that moment, my teapot starts to whistle, and I thought
Mhm.
that that was pretty cool too, because all I can do is be grateful for all the sounds that were around me, and a lot of times women just want to go. And I'm talking about women because you were talking about men, and I think that those are important conversations. A lot of times women just get stuck in um the surface of things, that they get afraid to dive into what is their core and the core being of things. In order to have a healthy emotional wellness dimension, we have to recognize all of those things. But also understanding if you can't get it in control, then maybe you need to seek some professional help. And there's nothing wrong with that either. There's
Yeah, I
nothing
think
wrong with that either.
you only got 1 minute, so I'm just gonna say this really quick. I
Oh
think
yeah, I
it's a
only
lot
have
of
1 minute.
people that don't seem to understand that if you do the work yourself, you do work on you, and you're self-aware of what you need improvement with, people adjust around you. See,
Mm-hmm.
nobody's gonna go and say, "I'm trying to get the CEO position, but I'm gonna go in there with a tank top and shorts." But somehow,
Right.
when it's time to get a mate or have somebody that's around you, all of a sudden you don't need to do no work on yourself or present yourself a certain way, so you
Mm-hmm.
attract a better person. And that's typically
Mm-hmm.
how things are looked at. We don't look and say, "Oh, well, let me improve better." We want people to adjust around us, and the world is
Mm-hmm.
not going to bend to you, and it's not going to stop spinning for a split second just so you can feel better about yourself. Get your weight up.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us for this episode of Divine Living. We have tried to give you a little insight of the four dimensions of um, spiritual, social, environmental, and emotional. Hopefully, you were able to take a few notes and grasp some things that may help you in your own personal wellness journey. It's important to know that all of us have our own separate journey in this thing. My way of wellness and Men of Steel's man of way of wellness are two totally different things. But it's also important to understand that this journey never stops. It never ends. It continues to go. You can't lay down the book and say, I'm done with that part. It won't stop. When you think that you're done, then that's when that dimension starts to be depleted. So take the time, the time to get to know yourself, get to know your own um, wellness, and make things better for you. Yeah, make things better for you. Of course, I'm going to leave us with our words as usual, and um, hopefully, we'll understand a little more about what this journey of wellness looks like in our own personal lives. Just a moment, sorry. It's important. I hope that you find it important. I hope that you find that these dimensions make a little bit of sense when we're on this journey of wellness, right? These dimensions make a little bit of sense. Um, yeah. So, in closing, I'll leave you with our words. This is my words to you, and hopefully your words to others. Without words, the speech cannot be heard. Without a voice, there's nothing to be said. Without sound, it's only left to be seen. And without them all, we're just beings without being a thing. Use your voice to be the light of change. My voice is almost out, but hopefully it made a little bit of change too. Use your voice to be the light of change. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Divine Living. You guys are awesome. Make sure you tune in next week. We'll be touching on some more dimensional conversations and all that kind of great stuff. Love you all. Um, we're hanging out for a little while, so come in and hang out with us.
I got a little